President Bongbong Marcos marks his 100th day in office after a landslide victory in the May elections. Analysts, sectoral groups, and fellow officials now weigh in on the chief executive's first 3 months in power. LTFRB chairperson Cheloy Garafil resigns from her post and is now with the Office of the Press Secretary as officer in charge. And the big-time increase in pump prices is expected next week after OPEC announced its biggest oil production cut since the onset of the pandemic. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s cabinet members commended him as he celebrates his first 100 days in office. But one political analyst gives him a less than stellar review. Details in this report by Faith Del Mundo.
While President Bongbong Marcos shows pride for a quote, functional government that his administration has achieved for the first 100 days in Malacanang, political analyst and UP professor Jean Encinas Franco gave the president 4 out of 10. Franco said that's because the administration has failed to craft a concrete plan for the next 6 years.
We have a president who overwhelmingly won with a very huge mandate. But then, it also comes with huge expectations. I'm not so sure if I'm going to give him a satisfactory assessment of his first 100 days. Mainly because I'm looking for a solution that is innovative and big in the sense that it has a huge impact. It will be remembered by people in the next 6 years.
Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascual, on the other hand, believes that the first 100 days of the president have been fruitful. He said trade commitments that they have earned from the president's trip in Indonesia, Singapore, and the US are the best achievements of the economics so far.
We've been meeting every week, when we're here. I mean, it's a lot of work. And on Monday, I will make a presentation to the president on the follow-up on the investment prospects that we have identified. There are, of course, concerns that have to be ironed out. So pag-uusapan namin, maraming trabaho, hindi to laro,
Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin earlier described the first 3 months of President Marcos as inspiring. But ordinary Filipinos are divided on their assessments.
Yun yung mga nagustuhan ko sa kanya, yung may mga platform na siya sa pagbabago ng natin, ng bansa natin. Kagaya nung subway, yun, agriculture.
Improve yung mga dapat salary. Salary tsaka yung mga bill ng kuryente, tubig. Yun ang number 1 na kailangan naming mahihirap eh.
For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
One economist also believes that the president made some hits and misses in picking out his cabinet men. UP professor Winnie Wansod told the chiefs that the sugar fiasco is one proof that the government is not as functional as the president claims. The president also has yet to appoint a health secretary. Wansod said only about a third of the current cabinets are truly the best in their field.
Look at what happened to the sugar of transport. That's not a sign of a functional government. He does not still have a health secretary. How can that be a functional government when health is one of the biggest crises we have now? The best and the brightest he got, that is for sure, are the 4 economic managers.
Malacanang has confirmed the appointment of Attorney Cheloy Garafil as officer in charge of the Press Secretary Office. Garafil resigned as chairperson of the LTFRB and accepted the offer to become press undersecretary. This came a day after President Bongbong Marcos announced that 3 names are being vetted for the press secretary post. A formal announcement on the matter is expected next week. Meanwhile, board member Riza Marie Paches has been appointed officer in charge of the LTFRB. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Pump prices are expected to go up next week after OPEC slashed oil production. Camille Samonte with a story.
Members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries have agreed to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day. This is equivalent to 2% of the global oil supply, the biggest oil production cut since the pandemic. OPEC's de facto leader Saudi Arabia said the cut of 2 million barrels per day was necessary due to rising interest rates in the West and the weaker global economy. This comes despite pleas from the US and other countries to pump more after oil's prices spiked due to supply disruptions from the Russia-Ukraine war. In a statement, the White House said that US President Joe Biden was disappointed by the short-sighted decision. In the past months, oil prices have gone down due to decreasing global demand. But because of the oil production cut, petroleum prices are expected to go up once again after 5 consecutive weeks of price rollback.
Biglaan po ang desisyon nila ay magbabawas sila ng 2 million barrels per day. Ito'y napakalaki po kumpara doon sa nauna nilang testing noong October na 100,000 barrels lang. So, ito'y inaasahan po natin na magkukos po nung reverse ng trend. Instead na rollback,
gasoline prices are expected to go up next week by 1 peso per liter, while a 4 pesos increase is expected for diesel. Kerosene prices are also expected to go up by 2 pesos. Senate President Mig Zubiri has expressed his concern over the cut in oil production, which will likely push commodity prices higher. Inflation remains elevated at 6.9% in September, the highest in 4 years.
That's unfair to non-oil producing countries. Kawawang-kawawa tayo dyan. Sa binanggit po nilang controls of 2 million barrels a day less output, it will affect the prices of fuel, which will again increase our pump prices on a local level. And it will trigger inflationary.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Terrafirma remains winless in the PBA Commissioner's Cup after it fell to Meralco on Friday. Despite the absence of head coach Norman Black, the Bolts crushed Terrafirma 105-92. Star player Chris Newsom also sat the game out due to a calf injury, but import Johnny O'Brien pulled off 31 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, giving Jeep their 20th straight loss. And visiting team Bay Area Dragons remain undefeated after disconnecting Converge 106-100. The Fiber Xers were gearing up for a comeback in the fourth quarter as they cut Bay Area's lead from 22-4. Converge fell short in the last few minutes, made even worse by Miles Powell clinching his free throws with just 11 seconds left in the game. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.